Hey everybody, welcome to the podcast. My name's Rob. This is Raul. This is the Print House.
What's going on, guys? So welcome to first episode.
Yeah, first episode. Pretty excited to be here.
So Rob, one thing I do want to just jump right off the bat and kind of point out here is that we are located nowhere near each other.
Absolutely not. We're actually pretty much across the map.
Yeah, man. So I'm located here in Arizona.
Yeah, and I'm over here in Indiana.
Indiana.
Yep.
Still cold for you guys there?
Yeah. So today it was 50 degrees on my way into the tattoo shop because I'm a tattoo artist full time. And then on my way home it was 29 degrees. So
nice.
It was amazingly cold. The wind is horrible. But it's warm where you are, so
kind of. I mean, today was a high of 68. Right now it's like 58 degrees, and it'll get down to like 30s. So, I mean, it's still a little. I mean, most people in Arizona tell you it's chilly here, but not compared to where you are. So,
no, we still get snow in March and April.
We got snow in March too, one day.
Oh.
But
wow.
That night that I messaged you that it was snowing, that was our snowfall for the year.
Oh, lucky you.
So, all right, man. Well, first episode, here we are. Let's start with how we got into 3D printing. I mean, obviously, there's a lot of different podcasts out there about 3D printing. I've listened to a few, a lot of great information, but there's some topics that I don't feel are really covered. And really, what got you into 3D printing?
So, I've been looking at 3D printing for years and years. I have a buddy that has been doing FDM printing for the past 5 years, and he has 6 machines. I go over there a lot and just watch what he does. And my wife got me a 3D printer for Christmas, and we've been going hard ever since. Started off with an Anycubic resin printer, just a little M3, and then it just took off from there. We're now up to 5 printers. We have 2 Saturn 2 8K printers that we print all of our models off of, and then we have 2 Neptune 2S's that we do all of our prototyping off of.
Nice. You're ahead of me on the amount of printers.
Yeah, it just kind of happened. I was just talking to my father-in-law one day about what my plans for the future were, and he thought it was a really good idea. And he's actually one of the ones that got into it with me first.
Nice.
And he's been along for the ride, and it's been a very awesome learning experience. And like you said, just getting this started, we're wanting to do more of a where other people are failing on not telling all the information. They're only telling half the information, and that's what I got sick of. So,
yeah, definitely. Yeah. Well, that's part of the thing, right? Is that there's a lot of useful info out there, but if they're only giving you half the tools, then I mean, what are you going to do?
Yeah. What about you? How did you get started in this?
So honestly, man, I got started because I'm a huge Superman guy, and I pretty much would buy every single figure statue of Superman I could get my hands on. And I thought, man, I'm spending a shit ton of money on this. So I decided, I was like, how can I make this cheaper if I buy them wholesale? And then I was looking online to, find a different statue because I had to find a new one for the collection. And I came across a 3D printed, resin statue of Superman. And it was this really badass one with the, black suit, the beard, probably one of my favorite versions of Superman. But anyhow, I bought it, and the kit itself was like $130. It's a good size. Waited forever for the kit to come in the mail. I bought it off of eBay, actually. And when I got it, I realized, wait, someone made this. And started looking, okay, how do I do it? How do I make this? I don't want to spend $130. I looked up how much it cost for him to make this resin statue, and it made more sense to me to go out and buy resin printer. So, I mean, initially my son and I bought a printer each. He kind of hasn't really printed lately. He's busy. He's a senior in high school, but so I've had privy to his printer, to my own. I have a Saturn II, which is an 8K printer from Elegoo, and then a Mars 3 as well. But it's amazing what we only had the Mars 3 like maybe 4 days before we got the Saturn II, and the build size is completely different. So
yeah, because the Mars is tiny, right?
Yeah, it's pretty small.
Compared to our Saturns, they're tiny.
Oh yeah, I mean the thing is once you know that there's bigger printers, it's hard to print on a smaller printer. But then I wanted to do some functional prints, like some of the articulated lizards. And
those are fun, aren't they?
Yeah, and I mean, so I got Anycubic Viper, which I know you and I have done a lot of talking previous about all of these. I gotta say, man, like the Anycubic FDM, I'm in love with it. I haven't messed with the resin printers. I mean, obviously you've had the experience with it.
Yeah.
But the Viper's pretty good. Right now I'm running a print for a mushroom lamp. It's printing out the dome, and it's looking pretty sweet right now.
Nice. Yeah. Their FDM printers are really good. Their resin printers aren't bad. I just had a kind of a bad experience with my first printer and their customer service. And I think that's key in a lot of business is a bad experience with their customer service. It turns you off their products a lot.
Oh, yeah. And I mean, that's the thing is that, like, for example, I definitely think that, I don't think if I'm going to go with another resin printer, really it's going to have to be, like, I'm thinking Jupiter next, which is a massive resin printer for anyone who doesn't know. Mm-hmm. But I think that other than I might buy another Viper eventually. If not, I think I'm going to go with the Bamboo. But that's a whole different brand.
Yeah, the Bamboo is nice.
Nice, but pricey.
Yeah. Well, the P1P is down to $6.99 now.
Yeah. But though I realized from buying that Mars 3 with my son that sometimes you just pay the extra and go a little bit bigger. Yeah.
I'll tell you, the build plates on the Saturn definitely help put the models on there, load it up and go. Versus my M3, that was I think 120 millimeter build plate or whatever.
The one thing that I think is funny that if you're not used to it, and most people don't talk about it, is going from we're used to measuring in inches and feet, and then all of a sudden you start printing and you're measuring in millimeters, and it's hilarious because I still find myself going, how many inches is 71 millimeters?
Yeah. I constantly have a converter, because in school they never taught us, how to convert that stuff. It's definitely weird going from imperial to metric.
Yep.
And then vice versa.
Well, and that's the thing is that I think the rest of the world works off of metric, and we're
the only ones that don't.
Yeah. But it is funny here in Tucson, if you drive far enough south, it switches from miles to kilometers, in anticipation of getting to Mexico. But it's still like a good, probably hour and a half away from Mexico. And they're like, we should probably switch to meters at this point, kilometers, because, they operate off of that. And it's hilarious to me because I'm like, they should have taught us this stuff. Yeah. So obviously we both have our own print shops. We do. So go ahead, lay out yours and how to find it.
I'm Meadows Print Crafters on Etsy. That's my shop. We're also on TikTok and Instagram. We're working on getting a full-blown website and whatnot, but we're just kind of taking it slow. We're not trying to we don't have a certain goal for the end of the year. Well, nope, I take that back. We do. We want to grow, but we're not trying to grow, exponentially every month. It's just me and my wife. So we're just trying to, go in this slow and learn as much as we can along the way. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. I mean, the thing is I think that's how we initially met is just did we get through TikTok or Instagram?
Yeah, I think TikTok. I think because I saw your models and I was like, dude, where'd you get your models? And you pointed me to Wicked.
Yep, that's right. That's right.
And that we both do. Well, you do the Berserk.
Yeah, I do the Berserk. So that's more DC. The Wicked is more Marvel and Star Wars type things. You know what? And this is just kind of by happen chance. Yesterday, Berserk dropped their March drop, and it is actually Gandalf.
Ooh, yeah. We also got the Gandalf one as well.
Nice.
Yep.
Very nice.
We also got Cyclops in. We just got Cyclops. I'll be downloading that and be printing up one of those busts to kind of.
That I'm a little jealous about.
Yeah, Cyclops is one of my favorites.
See, I don't know. I want to get a badass Wolverine. That's what I want to get.
Yeah, I'm actually I'm gonna be doing a TikTok series on helmets here soon. So I'll be doing Wolverine's helmet. And then I think Cyclops' visor.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's something to look forward to.
Yeah.
That'll be sweet. You're going to do that on the FDM or the resin?
Yeah, I'm going to do all FDM on that. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, helmets are probably more advisable on the
FDM. Yeah. What about you? You got what's your shop and stuff?
So ours is Fortress of. I can't even talk today. Fortress of Sculptures. I got mostly DC. I got some other stuff mixed in. Got a little Etsy shop. You can find us Fortress of Sculptures on Instagram, TikTok, Etsy. We're even on Twitter, but I don't remember the Twitter handle because Fortress of Sculptures was too long for Twitter.
Thanks, Elon.
Right.
Maybe we should get a hold of him and see if we can change that.
If we tweet at him enough, we might.
Let's tweet him.
Right. But yeah, no. Oddly enough, the shops are growing on all the platforms, both yours and mine.
Yep.
But now there's this whole talk of the TikTok ban, so we'll see what happens in regards to that.
Well, it's Tic Tac. That's what the senators are calling it.
Yes, Tic Tac. Does it connect to the Wi-Fi?
Does it have to have control of my home network?
I don't. There's another one going around about a senator, and I don't know if it's real or fake, man. But there's one going around about a senator saying how he just sees nothing but, dancing homosexuals and costumes.
Oh yeah. And why does his algorithm do that?
Yeah. So
I bet his PR team is just having a heyday with that.
Oh yeah. It's like, do you not tell me you don't understand how the internet works without telling me you don't understand?
This is what happens when you have a bunch of 80-year-old men try to run a country.
Right. Oh man. So
this is why I don't vote. I don't vote because of this dumb all that dumb stuff. I just don't do it.
See, and that's what terrifies me is that sometimes I think, okay, does it matter if I vote? Does it matter if I do? I don't know. Some of it just is terrifying. I'm like, why are these guys 78 years old and still in Congress? They should be sitting on some porch right now.
I wish I was sitting on a porch right now.
Yeah.
Somewhere warm.
Everybody talks about somewhere warm, and I'm like, take its time heating up. It's going to be 110 soon. And everybody be like, oh.
Be on the golf course. It'd be great.
No, you don't want to be on a golf course at 110. It is no fun. You don't want to touch your clubs. You don't want to touch the ball. You definitely don't want to be on the grass at 110. Then mosquitoes come out. Yeah, no. I wear
my winter hat all year long. I don't care if it's 100 degrees or what. I'm always cold. So.
But that's because you're a little guy.
When you're 80 pounds, and you're just all bone, there's no muscle. You get cold a lot.
Yeah, I joke with everybody because if I'm wearing a beanie or a hoodie, it's because I just like how it looks, and I can do it at the moment. Not because I'm cold. Most of the time I'm like, yeah, t-shirt and shorts, I'm good. But so really, I mean, intro into 3D printing. I mean, what are some of the cool shit that you've been able to print? And what are some of the automatic, like, whoa, I fucked this up?
Oh yeah. So if you're new to 3D printing, be prepared to waste a lot of money. Okay, don't jump into this thing thinking, oh, all I gotta do is print out some calibration cubes. I gotta print out this test print and then I'm good to go. be prepared for fails after fail after fail over something really simple too. I think the coolest thing I've ever printed though so far has got to be my wife's Doom guy. So I had just got done recalibrating my Saturns after a pretty hefty order. I just wanted to make sure all the settings were right and everything else. But I was actually off by a couple milliseconds. So I was able to change all that stuff. I changed my layer heights, changed my list settings and whatnot. Which, again, that's another thing that we're going to be going into in the podcast too later down the road is a bunch of setting stuff. But yeah, changed all that. Printed up a little miniature Doom guy. He was no bigger than 3 inches tall, and but every bit of detail was in there, man. I mean, it was probably one of the most perfect prints I ever printed out. Supports came right off. No damage to anything. The base was as flat as could be. It was just great.
Nice.
I've had some really bad prints though. I was trying to print up an infinity cube on the FDM machine, and I think I wasted like 500 grams of filament.
Ouch! Was that the big one?
No, it's a small one actually.
Just
yeah, it was a small one. I don't know. See, and this was probably me doing something in the slicer or whatever, but it would. Somehow it would grab a hold of one of the quarters and just take it off the build plate. I did that a couple times, like halfway through the print when I was sleeping, and then I'd wake up and there'd be a big ball of filament. But yeah, so that's probably the worst. But there's going to be more to come for sure.
Oh yeah.
And I'm sure that once I get this Galactus done, that's 30 inches tall.
That's crazy.
I'm sure once I get that done and actually painted, that's going to be my new favorite for sure.
Oh, that'll be a fun one. Did you ever count how many pieces that was?
No, I haven't even looked. I think I sent you a picture. The head was half the build plate of the Saturn.
Yeah, that's crazy. Man, it's funny. The spool holders that you can hang up that I showed you?
Yeah.
So funny enough is that when we're talking about print failures, I printed a set of the hooks because it's 2 hooks per spool, right? And 2 of the little, I don't know what you would call them, the little rods in between. Well, when you print them together, the hooks print beautifully. No problems, no issues. But then both times that I've printed them with the rods and the hooks, it ends up the spaghetti ball. That drives me nuts. But, and this is the funny thing, is that I don't know why this is, but if you print the rods by themselves, no problems. I can print 6 of them all in one go.
Really?
No problems. But if I print them with the hooks, spaghetti. So those are some of my most frustrating failures recently, just because it's, why the hell did the hooks print fine and then the rods are just spaghetti on me?
I've had that. I've had resin prints. I don't use RAS. I just put my support straight on the build plate. So I've had the bottom layers print perfectly. Get a little bit of the support going, and then drop the support all together, and then halfway through that print, it picks up the supports again. So I'll have one spot where there's a hole that should have support filling, and then you look up a little more, and then the support started building up again. So it's kind of weird how that kind of stuff happens.
Oh yeah. Well, right now I have a print going that so I printed 4 different pieces to this dragon, and the left side of the print completely just supports are halfway there. So it's going to be a fail for that particular piece, which, by the way, and I'll talk about this again, I'm sure, but if you have 4 pieces to one item and one of them is failing on your resin printer, do yourself a favor, and I'll say this in the very first episode, and I'll probably say it in every episode, do not stop the print.
Never.
let it go, because if not, you just wasted so much resin.
Yeah.
And that goes into spending money.
Oh, doesn't it? I remember when I first started resin printing, I would literally sit there and watch the printer go.
Mm-hmm.
Like I would just sit there and watch, and I would, oh, it's failing, and I would hit cancel. I would cancel the print halfway through, and I have so much in my throwaway can to be melted down and thrown into a mold of something. Because I mean, what else can you do with it besides throw it away?
Yeah, I don't know.
Try to reuse it, but yeah, never cancel a print. If something's gonna fail, let it fail. Chances are you're never gonna ruin anything. And if you have to replace the FEP, then you replace the FEP. Those are only a couple bucks. But yeah, never cancel a print. You're gonna waste so much, just like I did.
Yeah, no, and that's the funny thing is that you don't think about that, and I don't think anybody really talks about that.
Because nobody wants to break these $100, these couple $100 machines. I mean, I get that they're not. I mean, to me, they're not expensive, right? A couple $100 to me is not expensive, but a couple $100 to somebody else might be expensive. So yeah, I mean, you definitely don't want to ruin the machines, but just having a half print fail, don't stop the other three to save one.
I mean, and that's the real thing. I mean, if you see resin leaking out from under the vat, you've got trouble.
Oh yeah,
a lot of trouble.
Knock on wood, I've never had that happen.
Neither have I. I've come close, but
oh yeah, I've had I had a support fall off, and I didn't realize it, and it pushed it almost right through the FEP. It didn't go through, but it almost did.
Well, that FEP is a pain in the ass to change.
Yeah, it is. Yep.
And that's the funny thing is that if you keep an eye on what you're doing, and every once in a while I'll use the little yellow spatula that they include with the printer, and I'll move it along in the resin to make sure my FEP looks good.
Yep.
But don't be scraping at it. Honestly, you're asking for trouble if you're just scraping at it too.
Yeah. Don't scrape with that plastic at all. That'd be bad. You get a hole in that.
Then you end up replacing your screen. It'll be a mess.
Oh yeah. It would be. Well, I mean, some of those printers now are coming with that tempered glass on it too.
Yeah, but then you have to. I mean, the thing is that I, luckily, knock on wood, have not had to deal with it. But, do you really want to replace because it says the Saturn's supposed to have a screen protector, and I'm not going to take it apart to find out.
Right.
But I also don't want to have to replace that if, it's
right.
It's ruined,
right.
So.
Yeah. So how did you go about all of your calibrations?
Man, that's a whole.
How was that journey for you? Oh, what is it going to be a 2-day?
No,
is that going to be a 2-day podcast?
It's still a journey, man. So
yeah.
I messed with my settings, and we kind of talked about this, but. So for the longest time, I really didn't mess with anything. Did the cones of calibration. They came out pretty good the first time I did them. I don't remember. You and I had talked about it, and I'd run a couple more tests, changing a few of the settings. Well, after I messed with the settings, I did something because my prints aren't as clean on one of the machines as they were.
Mm-hmm.
Like the Saturn's still going smooth, but the Mars is not. So the calibration's tricky, man, because I don't know if it's because of the fact that the weather's changing. Like this week is kind of a fluke where it's a little bit colder. The last week and a half, it's been warmer, almost in the 80s. So I don't know if it's because the temperature's changing. And for example, my resin printers are not inside my house. They're outside in the garage.
Yeah, you have them in your garage.
Yeah, so I don't know if it's because between me messing with the calibration, between the temperatures, I don't know if that's what's doing it, or if I just am a dumbass and changed something a little too far, and so it's still an ongoing thing. as far as the Viper, really, I haven't messed with too much other than temperatures and speed based on different filaments. But this one I have pretty tuned in. I still, and this is the thing, when I want to do a temp tower test on it, but it's going to take me a little bit of time to set up within the settings. So,
right.
Kind of I've been having beautiful prints, so I'm like, why mess with a good thing?
Oh yeah.
But I still want to kind of figure it out, because even just different, even different resins can require different settings. Different filaments definitely require different settings. What about you in terms of your calibration?
So I got the Saturns pretty much set up. My setup is actually in a spare room. I converted my old computer room into a little workshop. So my climate's pretty much controlled. I'm stuck at 25°C and about a 20% humidity in this room.
All right, so the Americans in the room, 25 degrees Celsius.
25°C should be roughly about 70 degrees.
Nice. Damn, how are you not sweating?
I'm a cold guy. Yeah, 77 degrees Fahrenheit.
Wow.
And that's what this room's stuck at all year long. So I don't have any fluctuations with any of that stuff. My Anycubic though, my M3, kind of have the same issue. Changed some settings on it, and it didn't like it, and the prints come out looking like it. But that also could be a bad FEP. It could be, the FEP just is too loose. So I'm going to be replacing that soon, but I haven't had to, because I have these two Saturns that are pretty much my workhorse machines. So that's kind of like a side project that I'm going to do. I've also got a lot of extra parts that I'm planning on building, Frankensteining a couple machines, doing a couple FDM machines, and then Frankensteining maybe an SLA machine together later this year.
Nice.
But yeah, so the calibrations are decent. My layer height have definitely went down. But yeah, everything else seems pretty good. Just trying to get these Neptunes to work correctly.
Well, you've had a journey with the FDM Neptunes there.
If I didn't have any bad luck, man, I wouldn't have any luck. That's just the way that it kind of goes. I have nothing good to say about Elgu though. They have been really good. Their customer service is top notch. I just got unlucky with two machines that I ordered, unfortunately. But I mean, again, Elgu they've been great. Anytime I've needed a new part, no questions asked. There it is in 5 days. So again, I mean, I can't say anything bad about Elgu. I just had some bad luck, but
yeah, sometimes that happens. Well, and that's the thing, is I heard, when you do your research, you find out that there's all sorts of different things. Different companies have better customer service, better, printers, better this, better that. Like, I'll be honest, I read that Anycubic's products were not great. And so far, I am loving this Viper. I have no idea, like, obviously you have a resin one that's down right now. But, that can be due to a FEP. That could be, I didn't go with Anycubic for the resin because I didn't read good things about them. Not to say that, I wouldn't try it. Definitely open to testing out some products and, putting out some reviews. But, Elgu for the resin printers. I love the Saturn too. I even love the Mars 3. It's just a little small. Wish we had gone bigger on that one. But, luck is one of those things that, it's like the hooks and the rods. I get hooks, but spaghetti, or I can just have rods. It's just the luck of the draw.
Right. And I mean, like you said though too, using different filaments, definitely. I mean, even if you're going from PLA to like PLA silk, there's definitely going to be a temperature change just because of the molecular structure of the plastic itself.
Yeah.
And like you said, your temp tower is going to help you out. I haven't done any temp tower because I just print out with PLA. So I really didn't see the need to do temp towers. I'm still waiting on 2 extruders to get here, but as soon as those get here, both the machines should be up and going, and hopefully doing more of those flexi prints. Like I did a axolotl the other day, and I just got done with a dragon that printed out almost perfect. So
nice. See, the very first articulated print I printed was it's a little dragon, right? I don't even want to call it a dragon. It's like a lizard, but it's a red-eye something. And I found it on Thingiverse. But this thing, I printed it with a brim. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to advise you to not print with a brim when you're printing articulated stuff. Or supports. Yeah. I also made the mistake of it. Not only did it have a brim, but it had supports. And getting all the supports out of in between, no fun. It doesn't need them. It doesn't need them. And I don't know if I didn't check the settings, but I had a whole lot of wasted filament due to that. And, it doesn't move as well as it should, the very first one. So, and I don't know. I mean, some people are a fan of the brim. I hate the brim. I print skirt only typically. But I also don't have any adhesion issues. The one big key point for me on this Viper is that auto bed leveling. That's
right. Cool. Yeah. And which I'm going to be installing the BL Touch on the Neptunes to do that. I'm still going to have to do some manual leveling, but that's definitely going to help with. And that's one thing that I do. I print with brims only because the beds that I have are not completely tram, right? And when we say we're leveling beds, we're not putting a level on these beds. We're doing this manual kind of stuff. So you're not leveling the bed per se, right? You're just getting all the points to line up with the nozzle, and that's called tramming, right? So my tramming on my bed is not the best. I just got FDM machines, so I really just learning everything new. So I'm not the best at tramming. So those brims, I'll tell you what, if it wasn't for brims, I probably wouldn't have been able to print up the Infinity Cube or the Articulated Dragon. For sure.
See, and that's, I hate brims. I'm sitting there with an X-Acto knife, trimming it away.
Oh yeah, but I have ADHD, man. That's what I live for. I'm like, oh yeah, let me do that. I'll do that for you. Come here, give it to me.
Well, and the whole thing is that everything of this about this is kind of a journey, whether it's resin, SLA, or you're talking about FDM printers. It's kind of a learning curve. Like for example, I'm looking over at my mushroom lamp right now. It's printing the top of it, and it has tree supports, but every print that I've done with supports has been an absolute nightmare to break away. And I see all these videos on TikTok and Instagram of people just, that ASMR pulling the supports away. And I'm like, all right, how are you doing this? Because mine, like, I'm sitting there with pliers pulling on this, yanking on this shit.
So, yeah. So there's some settings. Are you still on Cura?
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's settings in Cura and even Prusa too. You go under the support tab, and you can actually change your how far of a connection it's going to be. And I think at default it works. It's going to be a pain in the ass to take off though. So that's one thing that you could, and that's one thing I'm going to start messing with too. As soon as I get the machines where I want them to be. Is I'm going to go in and do another deep dive on FDM settings like I did with the resin printers for the last 3 months.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's the thing is that I changed the settings for this one. I mean, the diameter for the trunk of the tree, the tree support was like 15 millimeters. And I'm like, whoa, why? So I lowered it down because I think that was part of it. Like the last one I had was just a nightmare to come off. I printed a little ornate skull, and that one didn't even do tree supports. That one just did regular supports, and that it's still not that pretty. Luckily, it's for my display, but I'm still trying to figure it out. It's a whole journey, and that's
Oh yeah.
the thing that I think we're really, part of this is being able to help people. You have somebody that is very knowledgeable on FDM printers that's been helping you out a lot. I've been kind of getting advice from you. Obviously there's a plethora of information on YouTube and all that out there. But it's nice to have community that, you can rely on and ask questions without people making you feel stupid.
Absolutely. And that's one thing that I have to say about 3D printing is, especially with the community that I come from. And I mean, you even know that community, the tattoo community.
Mm-hmm.
I've been a part of that tattoo community for the past 6 years now that I've been a tattoo artist. And we're not nice people. We're not. We're very blunt. If we don't like your work, we'll tell you that you're crap. And if you need help, you can go get bent because, you should have learned that in your apprenticeship.
Yeah.
So coming from that type of community to the 3D printing community was a complete change. And it has been very great. There's a lot of people that are willing to help you. Now, you do have your chads, the people that are, oh, well, you blah, 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 but for the most part, I have any kind of questions I've ever asked, you get the answer that you're looking for. Even if you get half the answer that you're looking for, you Google the other half,
Mm-hmm.
They still point you in the right direction. So the community is really great for helping out. If you find a couple things on Facebook, we're part of the 3D resin beginners and a couple other ones, aren't we?
Yeah, resin printing for noobs.
Yeah,
3D printing for noobs.
Yeah.
And I think it's interesting now because there's a couple things where when I first joined those groups, I was asking a lot of questions, and now I'm turning around and being able to answer some of those questions. It feels good, to help other people. And I'm sure that in through this series of podcasts here, we're going to have things where there are things that we could definitely improve upon. There are things we could learn more from, and that's where we're going to try and feature other more knowledgeable people that also can contribute to answering some of the questions that
absolutely
have, but other people.
Yep. Because I mean, I soak up a lot of knowledge and I soak it up fast. But I'm not a master at anything, and there's going to be people that just know way more than us, obviously that they've been doing it for 5+ years or whatever, and to be able to get those people on here though, that's the main thing, is having that knowledge to be able to come on here and answer questions that people are asking,
Mm-hmm.
Setting questions, or how do I do this with supports and how do I do that with supports. When I first started, there wasn't a lot of information out there. I mean, there is now, but it's half information. I watch YouTube videos and it's like, do this, do that, and then they do 20 other steps off camera that they don't tell you about.
Yep.
And you're like, well, my prints don't look like that, and I did exactly how. So there's some misinformation out there too.
But that's why you pay for their Patreon, bro.
Oh yeah, let me pay for that Patreon.
I mean,
you should get a Patreon then.
Not to knock anybody, everybody has to make a living. But I mean, really, that's where I think that helping people and giving them the right information, that's like teaching you a class on, I don't know, changing the oil in the car, and you skip the step of, taking out the old oil. It's
wait, you got to do that in the oil change? I'll be right back.
But like, I mean, I'm not going to charge extra for that piece of information. So,
right.
And guys, if you are out there and you're listening and you think either one of two things, either you have questions, you're new to this and you have questions, or you feel like you would be a valuable guest to anybody out there listening, shoot us an email. The email is theprinthousepodcast@gmail.com. I think, Rob, that's the first time you hear of it.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, I was a little delayed in getting your information today. I was just like
It's been a crazy week for both of us, actually.
Yeah, and I was trying to paint something today, and it wasn't working.
Are you painting stuff today? Look at you. I got my Thanos primed, and that's it. That was like 3 days ago.
Well, I'm working on Supergirl over here. You've seen them. I mean, I'm working on Supergirl over here and that Red Monica. And Supergirl, I think, is just, she's in a box now.
So is Wanda.
Yeah, I got mad at her, and so I put her in a box. She's not working how I wanted to look, so I'm putting her away for a little bit. Red Monica is still coming along, but I got some touch-ups to do. And that massive Thor I started to paint, but even with him, I'm happy. With the Red Monica, and I think Supergirl really just kind of threw me out of the loop today. So at one point, I was like ready to throw this shit across the room and like say, fuck it all.
Oh, dude, I almost did that with the Wanda a couple weeks ago when I messaged you, and I was like, I sent you the picture of the torso bubbling up, and I'm like, what the fuck am I doing wrong?
Yeah.
But yeah, I just finally got sick of it, and I'm like, you know what? This is a project that I can come back to later.
Yep. Well, and that's what's funny is that I think, and here's the thing, right? So we talk about community. So I have a couple prints that are for sale. They're up on the Etsy shop. Well, one of them isn't right now, but Spider Girl, right? She's on my TikTok and Instagram, and I had posted her for sale, and I'm not going to name any names, but on this Facebook group, it's specifically for selling, statues and collectibles. I didn't price it crazy high. I feel like I'm asking what I think it's worth, what, the print itself, plus the time that I spent painting it. That's part of an artist's, income.
Right.
But this guy says, it looks like shit. I wouldn't pay $3 for it. At first I'm like, fuck this guy, okay, whatever. And then I started looking at it. I walk by it every day, and I'm like, maybe it doesn't look that great. And you start doubting yourself, And I started touching it up, and I'm like, I mean, I could do a little bit more, I guess. And then at some point, I'm like, wait. I'm just doing this to appease fucking Joe Schmo 99 on the internet.
Oh, no.
Yeah. And so, reality set in, and I'm like, okay, yeah, I got her to where I wanted to be. She looks good. She's ready for sale.
Right.
But it's hilarious because I think all of that combined, I'm just like, I just walked away for a minute today, and I'm like, I'm not touching any of this shit. So,
dude.
That's the fun part about this is that not only is it, one of the things my wife loves about the resin printing, for example, is that we can take liquid goo and create these beautiful statues out of it or, different things. And it just it's fascinating because at first you're like, holy shit, this tub of liquid just turned into this.
So it's funny you said that because around October, November, I was on Amazon just kind of searching for my next ADHD obsession. And the resin printers just popped up, right? And I was like, holy crap, that's only $200. And we started looking more towards Christmas time and everything else. And all of a sudden, the M3 became $120.
Mm-hmm.
And so we bought that, or she bought. I didn't know she bought it. We didn't buy any resin. She didn't buy any resin because she thought it was going to come with it. So when I got the machine, it literally sat on the desk for 2 weeks because we didn't have any resin, and I didn't know what kind of resin to buy. There was when I got on the Anycubic website, it was standard resin, ABS resin. There was two other kinds, and I was just on complete sensory overload. Finally got some resin, put it in the vat, I hit print, and then a chicken popped out.
You printed the chicken?
My wife thought that was the coolest shit in the world, dude. She was like, "You made that?" I'm like, "Yeah, that's what I made. It looks like crap, but I made it." She's like, "I love it. This looks great." And yeah, then I printed up a bunch of little crap, and I look at it, I'm like, "That's cool." My wife's like, "That's freaking amazing."
Yep, same here, man. So it's funny that you say that because I think we got our printers around roughly the same time. I was looking at 3D printers, and then of course Christmas time comes up, so they go on sale, right? The Saturn II is like $100 off or $80 off, something like that. I don't remember, but so we bought the Mars 3 and the Saturn II. And I did make the smart decision to buy the resin with it, but I bought the Elegoo 8K resin. Right?
Ooh.
Fantastic stuff. Expensive as shit.
Mm-hmm.
I love the color. I love the details. Do I really think it makes a difference? A little bit.
On the macro scale, sure.
Yes. But I mean, it's great stuff, but it's super expensive. And really, unless you're not going to paint them, not super worth it. But it's hilarious, man, because, I started, I think I printed cones of calibration first, and then I automatically jumped in and I started. My goal was to print each one of my family members a statue and paint it for them for Christmas. And I think I started like November 25th or 24th, like just before my daughter's birthday. And so, man, I was cranking out statues left and right, like trying. And then, of course, I had failures because, like, I was brand new to it. But me, I'm just super ambitious. And I decided I'm going to do all these and I'm going to get them all done. Man, I was painting up until fucking Christmas Eve. Like, I was sitting here waiting for Santa Claus to show up, painting the last statue. And it was like 1 o'clock in the morning, Christmas Day. So, oof. Yeah. But oof. They all loved it. And,
and you did it all by hand because we just recently got airbrushes.
Yeah, that was all by hand. I didn't even think about airbrush. But see, I don't know. Like, I'm conflicted. Airbrush could be a whole other episode because sometimes I'm like, the airbrush is fantastic, and then sometimes I'm like, this isn't giving me the coverage I want quite yet.
Yeah. There's times to use airbrush, and there's times to use brush.
Yep. So that's even a learning experience. But my heart just dropped. I heard the FDM printer make a noise, and I'm like, don't tell me you're gonna spaghetti.
Oh, I hate when that does it, dude. Like, especially in the middle of the night. I'm a heavy sleeper, but if I have one of my printers on and I hear anything from this room, I wake up real fast. It's crazy.
Luckily, it's okay. No, but it's interesting because, like, I mean, even so I don't even think I said this. My primary gig is I'm a real estate agent, so I mean, like, there are definitely times where I have downtime, especially with the market right now. The market's changed, so I've had a little more downtime, and I've filled that downtime with printing and painting. And like right now, I can look to my right, and I have Spider-Girl, Rogue, Batman, Darkseid, all sitting there, and they look pretty, man.
Yeah, dude, they make really great models. Now, I haven't done any prototyping on resin machines, only because resin has more shrinkage and warpage than FDM. And so, like, I haven't done any prototyping on it, but my first couple bases that I made with my resin machine, I printed out full, just go hard with it, right?
Yeah.
Oh, man. So I didn't clean them out all the way. So there was still resin on the inside. Primed it, painted it, had it up. About a week after I did all that, the base started running. All the paint started coming off. It started just being, re-liquefied the paint,
Yep.
And that's when I learned that, hey, guess what? You have to cure the inside of those two.
Yep. You have to.
So I had to get a flashlight. Yeah.
Even, and you and I had this discussion the other night. Even the flashlight doesn't hit everything.
Right.
And that's part of the thing is like, these are all things that I don't think, and I mean, I've seen a couple videos on it. But like, even still, I have a set of those like strand LED, UV lights,
Yep.
and I have to figure out how the fuck to connect them to the back. Like, I'm not a big electrician guy. So like, I have to look up a YouTube on like how I connect them to like a 9-volt. Like, ideally I want them like connected to a bigger battery so I can flip them on and off a few times.
Do you guys have a Radio Shack? I know they filed Chapter 13, but
no radio.
There are independent Radio Shacks still open.
Not here.
You can get on Amazon and find a 9-volt battery adapter that you just solder 2 wires onto.
But then I have to get a soldering kit.
Oh, you don't have one of those yet?
No, man.
Oh, dude.
I'm not like a big projects guy. This is the most shit that I've done. Like,
you have to get one of those.
I've been a real estate agent for the last few years. I haven't really. This was the first thing I decided. All right, I got some projects to do.
Yeah, I went out and this is the first year I actually had a soldering gun. I spent 15 years in IT before I started being a tattoo artist. So I have a pretty big technical background. So I mean, me and soldering irons are best friends. But this is the first time I've had one in almost a year.
See, I know how to use one. I just don't have one.
I mean, I got it just for like 3D printing, which is weird. You think you wouldn't need it, but like you heat up a nut or a screw with that soldering iron and just push it down. Yeah, and it just melts right into the plastic.
True.
Yeah. So that's kind of why I got it. But I'm also going to be doing a lot of projects here soon with LED lights, inside models and whatnot. I think the big Galactus, some of his the planet's going to be glowing. I know that, and then his eyes are going to glow. So I'll have to figure that out.
Yeah,
some PCB boards.
My brother suggested with that dark side I have that I should put some LED lights in his eyes, and I'm like, yeah, that sounds cool. But
how?
Let me figure this out because I have big hands.
Right.
Fit my.
Well, see, you'd have to print the head up in clear resin.
See?
And then you just wouldn't have to, and then you just can't paint the eyes. So you have to mask out the eyes before you primed it.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
True.
One guy on the Wicked Patreon Facebook site that we're on, he did the Thanos bust with he did the whole glove in clear resin, and then he has each one of the gems in a different in the color of what they're supposed to be with LEDs.
Damn.
So it's okay. So he said it took him about like 3.5 hours to do the whole thing, all the wiring and stuff. But
I mean, luckily if he's only playing 9 volts, I'd shock myself for some shit. Knowing myself, I'd be like, oh, look at this cool. Oh, fuck, not so cool anymore. But yeah, man. So I'm excited to jump into all of these things with you and kind of go along this journey and help others on their journey.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I think next episode definitely will jump into one particular topic. I know we were kind of everywhere today, but I think that's vital for knowing who we are, how we vibe, and
get a little background on everything.
How, you're either going to roll with us or you aren't. Come along for the ride. It's going to be fun.
Right. Yeah, we're going to learn a lot together. We're all,
we're going to have.
It's a big community, and that's what we're going to keep going is the community.
Yep. So yeah, and definitely, guys. Again, if you want to be a guest or have a question, send them in. Requests or questions. The printhousepodcast@gmail.com. And we'll obviously respond to you and get some of those questions answered, and definitely looking for guests. I'm also going to push that out on my socials.
Yep, same.
Same for you.
Same. Yep.
And guys,
on the Tic Tacs.
On the Tic Tacs with Wi-Fi's.
With my home Wi-Fi's.
What a world we live in, man. All right, guys. Well, I guess that's our episode for the day.
Wow, was that an hour already? Holy shit, it was.
Yeah, it's been an hour.
Wow.
Yeah. Don't want to give too much away. Got to stay mysterious.
Time goes fast when you're on cocaine. No, I'm joking.
it's always funny because when, you record a podcast episode, you can go, yeah, I have so much shit to talk about. And then you're like, oh, we're out of time. Fuck.
Yeah.
But that'll just keep everybody intrigued until next time.
For sure.
So what are you printing now, and what do we have to look forward to on the next episode that we can hear more about?
So right now, I am kind of doing a giveaway for my TikTok followers. We just hit, it's a little milestone, nothing big. We just hit 1,000 followers, so now we can do lives, which is kind of cool.
Congrats.
So I kind of figured to kind of give back to the community. I'm printing up Wicked's Thanos bust from in-game.
Nice.
And he stands roughly about, I want to say about 8 inches, 9 inches tall. So I'm going to be finishing that. It's going to be fully painted and assembled. And that's going to be in a live giveaway here soon. So, I mean, that's really all I got working on as far as models go. Still doing setting stuff on the FDM printers and just more prototyping for different stuff.
Very nice, very nice.
Yeah. What about you? What do you got in the pipeline?
Well, right now I'm printing a dragon for a client.
That's the one with 32 pieces?
I cut it, no, so I didn't cut it down. We haven't talked about this in a while. 36 pieces total.
Yeah. Wow.
And it's going to be pretty big. It's right now I got 4 pieces of it that are printing. And one's failing, so I'm gonna have to print that one again. But it'll be interesting. This one I don't have to paint. The client wants to paint it himself. He's also a tattoo artist up in Wyoming, I think. Yeah, oh, nice. Wyoming. Neon Hyena Tattoo is his studio. So if you guys are in Wyoming, I don't remember exactly where, but go check him out. Daryl Hardy. So he's got a dragon that's being printed, but he's an artist, so he's going to paint that one, which I'm excited to see. And other than that, I got a mushroom lamp that's coming off the printer right now. Well, just the top. And, like I said, Supergirl's going in a box for about a month, and we'll see where the other ones go.
Yeah, well, that sounds like that dragon's gonna be pretty fun. I can't wait to see it all done. Are you gonna be posting when you're all done with that?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah,
that one's gonna be too cool not to post. So
yeah,
post it up, guys. If you're looking to get in touch with either of us, obviously our socials, like I said, at Fortress of Sculptures, pretty much everywhere that I'm normally at. Rob, where can they reach you?
Meadows Print Crafters on the TikToks, on Etsy, and on Instagram.
Awesome. All right, guys. Well, until next episode, it's been a pleasure, and we look forward to hearing from some of you guys.
Later, everybody.